In this video, I want to give you one simple technique to increase self-awareness that you can use regularly throughout your day and ultimately throughout your life to make sure that you're no longer reacting to things that happen to you in the world and from other people. Because the problem, or the challenge, should I say, with awareness is that we don't know what we don't know. And if we don't know that we don't know something, then there's nothing that we can do about it. We can only do something about something if we know that we don't know it. Right? So we've got to have the awareness to recognize when we're, let's say, actually reacting a certain way, so that we can realize that we're reacting a certain way, and then we can make a choice. We can choose whether we want to react that way or respond more intelligently in future when things happen to us. So I'm going to give you a specific personal example about this, or using awareness in my own life. Because yesterday I was at an event, an introductory event to it's called an introductory leaders program. And part of the event was talking about whether we commit to doing this. It's a 7-month intensive leadership course, multiple times per week. Like, it's a full-on program to be committing to and getting involved in. And I'm sitting there in the session, and we get to the point where, making the decision of whether I'm gonna go for this or not. And as I'm sort of getting ready to make this decision, my ego, like the voice in my head, is just going berserk, right? It's running all of these reasons about why I don't need this, why it's a stupid idea, why I should just do something else, or why I'm superior to this. So, like, we all have this, call it your darker side of yourself, and often most of us will either pretend that doesn't exist, we'll ignore that it's even there, not even acknowledge it, or we'll become convinced that voice, that part of self, and I'm not really going to go into the whole ego conversation now, but we'll be convinced that part of self is actually us, that's actually who we are. And we don't see it as a separate construct that we've created from our past experiences. Anyway, won't go into that conversation. But the point is that I'm sitting there and I've got this dialogue going on in my head about all these reasons why, I'm superior and blah, 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 and this is a terrible idea and I can't afford to commit that time consistently. And the awareness trigger to use is, how am I feeling in this moment? And any time that our feelings are not in line with who we want to be being or what we want to be feeling, that's our awareness trigger that we are stuck in ego. And in simple terms, stuck in our ego means that we're not being the best version of ourselves. We're being a version of ourselves that is based on our past experiences. So if you, in areas of your life, like if you want to be a version of yourself who is happy and fulfilled and abundant and, supportive of other people and so on and so forth, if we are feeling feelings of lack, of scarcity, of fear, of guilt, of basically any negative feeling, the awareness trigger is to catch that feeling, right? By constantly saying, how am I feeling? And if I'm feeling negative feelings like guilt, fear, lack, etc., then what's happening is that we're stuck. Let's keep it simple. We're stuck in our heads, right? We're stuck in our heads, and we are not being the best version of ourselves that we could be in that moment. And so by having that awareness, we can then tune in to what thoughts are we thinking and what beliefs are we believing to be true in this moment. And if you can hear, just stop and just listen to that inner dialogue, just see what's going on in there, what am I thinking, and then question it and have the awareness to recognize that dialogue, it's not you, it's separate from you. So I'm sitting there in this event, right? And I'm just observing this BS that's just running through my head from all the reasons based on my past of why I think that this isn't something that I need to do and blah, 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 blah. And by having the awareness to recognize that, all these negative feelings that I'm experiencing in this moment, they are created by this inner dialogue, which itself is fueled by my thoughts and beliefs from my past, none of which exist. They are all part of my construct of self, which I have created based on a past that no longer exists anywhere but in my own mind. And by having the awareness to catch the trigger of how am I feeling, it means that I can tune in and actually hear this dialogue as something separate from me, instead of just subconsciously acting on it as if it's me. There's a very big difference. When you hear it as something that's separate from you, you get to make a choice based on, call it your higher self, instead of making a decision based on this version of yourself which is created from the past, which is operating out of negative emotions like fear and lack and so on and so forth. So if I was to summarize this video into just this one concise lesson, it is develop the awareness as you're going through life to recognize and catch negative feelings. If at any point we're feeling a negative emotion, then it is because we are running some thought or pattern or belief or something based on our past, and or we are comparing to a future version of ourselves that doesn't exist yet and experiencing negative emotions because of that. So having the self-awareness to catch that negative emotion means that we can dial in to what am I thinking right now, what am I believing right now, and then recognizing that those thoughts and beliefs are not you. When you can separate yourself from the thoughts and beliefs instead of just acting on them or responding to them as if they're you, then it means you get much more power to make the right choices in life instead of just being controlled by essentially your past. Okay, so I hope that helps. I mean, if you're curious, like the end result for me is that I did end up signing up to this introductory leaders program. I had a choice between, do I do it pretty much immediately or do I do it in 7 months time. At the moment I'm down for the 7 months time, and I've got all these stories about why I've got so many other commitments that I can't really do it at the moment and blah blah blah. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to move the date forward or not. We shall see. But at the moment I am signed up and it is going to be starting in 7 months time. So I'm still subscribing to some stories. However, I was able to get over my own BS about superiority and why I don't need it and blah blah blah. So I hope that this technique helps you as well in other areas of your life. Comment below if you do have thoughts on this, if you've used this to catch some of your own negative thoughts and patterns and beliefs and so on and so forth. I'd love to hear what changes you've created in areas of your life based on having awareness. Like, what have you been able to dial into and then not let control you anymore? Okay, so I'd love to hear from you. Comment below if you've had your own experiences of this kind of thing. And also, if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. You will see that on the screen right now, just down there. Click subscribe, you get much more like this. I also do a lot of videos to do with online business, creating freedom in areas of your life through business. So yeah, if you find this kind of stuff valuable, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now.